So the question that we get from a lot of F1 applicants is, does my university choice matter? So what do you think about that?
A popular statement, as you know, Yvette, within the Foreign Service is, it depends.
Mhm.
That being said, it's wonderful if your university has name recognition, but what matters the most is why that school matters to you in that program. So being able to speak authentically and openly about your relationship and your inspiration for after the completion of the university matters the most during that interview process.
Right. So your story and how does
And also, it's having some kind of personal motivation as well. What makes you stand out? There might be plenty of students applying to that same school, but why does it matter to you? And what do you plan on doing with that education after the fact?
right. I did a webinar, and in that webinar, I took some mock interviews, and three different students were going to the University of Pacific. But I felt that only one of them gave a strong answer as to her motivation for studying for that specific program based on her history as well as her future plans. That's not to say that the other two students didn't have strong reasons. It's just that they were not able to express it. So they used very generic language when describing the school and their motivation, while she was very specific. So here you have an example of three students all going to the same program, but only maybe one shining at the visa interview because they were really able to personalize that reason for going to the school. Would you agree with
I
that?
completely agree with it. Something that I offer to other applicants is what makes you stand out? What makes your story the most compelling and special in many ways?
Hmm.
And I think we need to always be able to sell ourselves in that aspect your personal, your educational, your professional aspirations.
Right. I'll go back to the University of Pacific example. This particular student was studying speech pathology, and after digging a little deeper, it's because of her best friend had a speech impediment. And in her home country, they didn't have the resources to help her friend. So she got interested in speech pathology and had a good story for how she wanted to work with underprivileged and minority individuals within her country in that specific field, which is not really prevalent within her country. So I really thought that was an inspiring story. It's not one that she came out and told me right away, but it's that authenticity and that connection that's going to
Mhm.
make the consular officer really inspired, I think, because they hear the same thing over and over again. So when you're a little different, I think that's pretty inspiring. What do you think, Sammy?
That's great. And it's what's nice about that, it lets that consular officer as well play a role in that woman's story, right? In her success. It brings that motivation from here, which can be a little bit high and in the sky and generic, to here, where it's much more personal. And connectability plays a big role in us having your story stand out to us and getting us to that yes point.
Yeah. And in her case, she definitely had the background and everything to back up her story. She wasn't just being inspirational without anything else to stand on, which just made her application that much stronger, I think.
And I think that comes with part of the prep work. It's great to have buzzwords. It's wonderful to talk about your goals, but let's talk about the you. And
Mhm.
speak about you honestly and also thoughtfully as well as we've mentioned throughout this conversation, showing you in a different light that distinguishes you from others.
Right. And I think that's the most rewarding part of our job when we do visa interview preparation is to bring that out of people.
Hmm. But help us get to that point by bringing it up for us.
Mhm. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.